There's an old saying that goes, plan for the worst, hope for the best, and you can bet your bottom dollar that applies to our collectibles. Well, what's up everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about an extremely important subject. That is the idea of putting insurance on your collection. Is that something you've ever thought about? Is it something you've done? We're going to get into that in just a few moments. But before we do so, I wanted to say thank you to everyone that has subscribed thus far. We are over 3,000 on our way to 10,000. That's our goal that we set for the end of the year. If you've not done so already, go ahead and hit me with a presumptive like on this video. And as I've said before, if you like this type of content, it's not going to be like all the other type of videos that are out there. Here's the box, here's the figure, here's what you can expect. I'm trying to give you guys a little bit something different on this channel when it comes to 6-scale collecting and Hot Toys collecting in general. So as I said, if you like this type of content, let me know down in the comments and make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. I'd certainly appreciate it. But let's get into this today. The idea of insuring your collectibles. We've talked before about how we have all these expensive high-end figures. We put so much money into them. We put so much money into our displays, so much money into our lights. But at the end of the day, if the worst happened, are you prepared? You know, no one ever thinks that the worst is going to happen to them, and I certainly hope that it doesn't. But in the case that it does, are you prepared? I get asked all the time because I have a fairly decent collection. They say, how much is your collection worth? Well, I'm not going to do the math for you. You can kind of get an idea that, you know, there's quite a few dollars that are been put into this collection. And so naturally, I want to be prepared in the case that if the worst happened, let's say a meteor hits my home and blows this thing to smithereens, all my collectibles are insured. That means I can get my money back. But how do I make that happen? How do you go about making that happen? Let's say, for example, you live in a tornado area, kind of like me, and your house gets blown away. Are your collections up in smoke as well? Now, there are some things when it goes to insuring your collection and insuring collectibles that you need to understand and to think about. Insurance is there for when the worst happens. You pay a little bit every single month or every single year or quarter, depending on how your insurance company is set up. And then when the worst happens, you can be covered. And as I said, no one wants it to happen, but essentially imagine if it did. All the things you've looked for, all the things that you've hunted, all the things that mean something to you. Yes, I understand you won't get the sentimental value back, but if you've sunk thousands of dollars into your collection, wouldn't it be a shame if you only got a few $100s back on that investment? Today, I just wanted to make you think about the idea of having some type of collectible insurance. Now, here is what I have personally, and this was what works for me. Let me go on record in saying I am not an insurance salesman. I am not an insurance representative. I am just telling you what works for me. My situation may not be what works for you, but I at least want you to get thinking about what your options are. With that being said, I have my entire collection under my personal property insurance. You say, why do you do that? Well, I will tell you that in just a few moments. Now, there are different options out there to protect our prized collectibles from the event that the unbelievable happens, that aliens come and abduct your home and abduct your family and things like that, and your collection's taken. You know, your personal property insurance, like I have, does not cover something like that. Now, there is specific collectible insurances. I did put 2 links down below if you're interested in maybe checking those out. Those are specifically for collectible insurance. You say, I thought you said you had it. I do, but I have mine under personal property insurance, and I'll talk about what that covers in just a second. But collectible insurance takes into the account the idea that your items will actually appreciate in value. Most collectibles, when you get into high-end collectibles, do appreciate. Now, yes, I understand that we're living in a very difficult time to where the markets and things like that can go poof without any warning whatsoever. So it's very volatile out there. So something that may be worth something today might not be worth that much tomorrow. So we do need to take that into consideration as well. Nothing is foolproof. Now, I will say that if you get collectible insurance, one thing that you have to do is put a little more work into your collection and in your inventory. I've talked about it before that I have every single piece that I've ever purchased on a big spreadsheet. I actually talked about that on Will Fox Vacations channel, about how we have the exact same spreadsheet. What I do is I keep track of what I get, how I got it, where I got it from, what I bought it for, and eventually what the market value is for that piece. Now, if I go and buy it off a sideshow and I paid retail for it, naturally it is going to be worth retail. Now, say something goes out of stock or I buy an older figure. Let's say I go and buy the DX11 or something like that and add it to my collection. That is not obviously at retail, but I did pay an X amount for that figure. Now, collector insurance wants to know how much your collection is worth, so you need to keep track of all the pieces. Now, you may be saying, is that something that I need to be doing? Well, only you can answer that question. For me, I have over 250 pieces, and I do not want to catalog every single one and monitor them monthly. With collector's insurance, you need to send in constant reports letting the company know what your appreciated value is. Let's say your collection started off at $1,000 and now it's at $5,000 because the value of things went up. You have to keep track of that and be able to show that. I decided, you know what, that is too much work for me, not interested. I'm going to go down the route of personal property insurance. Now, like I said, this may work for you, but it does work for me. I'm not saying one way or the other is better. I'm just saying to be thinking about ways to invest and save your collection. So as I said, I have personal property insurance. Now, when I was talking to my real estate people and talking to my insurance company, I said, okay, here's what I got. I have a bunch of high-end action figures that are sitting in my house. What is the best way to cover it? Do I need collector's insurance? And they looked at me and they said, honestly, I would put it under your personal property insurance because you are not going to have to be taking into account depreciation or appreciation. All you need to do is put down how much money you want back. Now you say, oh, that sounds awesome. Well, yeah, it kind of is. I mean, if you have a $500,000 collection and you feel like it's worth $1 million, then take out $1 million worth of personal property. That way, if your house is to go up in smoke, go up in flames, all you do is file the claim, file the deductible, and they will give you a check for $1 million. Now you say, okay, now, how do I make sure that that's not going to happen to me? What if I put all this money forward and I get screwed over with my insurance? Yes, there are some caveats. Now, everything that I've said is covered in my personal property insurance. Because I live in a tornado area, if a tornado came and blew my house away, I would get everything back. If I were to burn it up in a fire, I would get everything back. But this is the caveat. If someone were to break into my home and steal everything, I would not get everything back. My insurance does not cover theft, because I believe, in my personal opinion, it's probably a little bit harder to prove that because there's obviously people out there that are a little bit dishonest. People will try to find ways to make fraud happen. You can say, oh my goodness, I lost $1,000 worth of collectibles. I need $1,000 back. But that is a way that they built that into the insurance premium to where if theft occurred, you do get money back, but you do not get the full value. So that's something to think about as well. So with all these, you have to ask yourself, how do I do this? So going back to my personal situation, I talked to my insurance company. I said, okay, here's how much my personal property is within my house. Here's how much my collection is valued at to me. Tack that on top. Increase my personal property insurance. That way, if something were to happen, I am covered. And you would be surprised just how cheap actual insurance is. Now, I understand, this may not be an extra expense that you think that this is something you want to add into. You also have to weigh whether or not you think it's worth trying to put that much money into something and whether or not paying monthly for insurance is worth it to you. I'm not downplaying anybody's collection, but if you have, a dozen or so Marvel Legends, probably not worth having any type of insurance on them. If you have a bunch of vintage figures, may want to think about doing that for those. If you have dozens and dozens of Hot Toys, maybe you want to have some insurance on those in case the worst happened. As I said, not putting a value on your collection because the sentimental value is far more than the actual monetary value. And that's something to think about as well. Yes, it will be great if something were to happen and I would get the big check and say, okay, I have to go buy these figures again. But you know what? I can't get back the very first Hot Toy I ever got, such as my Deadpool, because there's a sentimental value attached to that. I wouldn't be able to get back some of the presents that my wife got me, because those have sentimental value. And as always, insurance does not cover sentimental value, it only covers the actual monetary value. So it's something to think about, and something I think that you definitely need to consider if you continue to add to your collection and add high-end pieces. Well, that's going to do it for us here today. As I said, a little bit different video, but hopefully an important video to get you to start thinking about whether or not you want to invest in the future of your collection. As I said, if you like this type of content, make sure to let me know down in the comments below. If you have any questions, feel free to DM me, send me a message. Would love to help you out with that as well. Make sure to like and subscribe to this channel, as I said, and drumroll, as of this video, the next video in our queue is the Collection Room Volume 6. Yes, I will be going through every single piece that is in this collection as of right now, Volume 6, talking a little bit about each piece, all the different things I have going on with some of the displays. You'll get a little bit more insight into that. And as you can see, added a few different little things to the display. So I will show you that as well, the Collection Room Volume 6. That's going to do it for me. Make sure to sound off in the comments below. Let me know what you do. Are you going to check out insurance? Is it worth it to you? Did you learn anything? Let me know, and I will be seeing you in our next video.